on that, what are the types of issues that live in owners' meetings? Great question. So here's the overarching answer to your question, and then I'll give you some specifics. There's two major things to talk about in an owners' meeting. Number one is, how do we maximize opportunity for our family and for the business? So what do we need to do to maximize opportunity for the family and the business? Not maximize opportunity for the family and leave the business behind, or not maximize opportunity for the business and leave the family behind, but like, what do we need to do so that opportunity is maximized for both? That's issue number one. Issue number two is, what do we need to do to minimize risk for the family and the business? So what do we need to do that would minimize risk for both the family and the business? You could spend 25 years meeting every month on just those two questions. And let me give you a little more specifics on that. There's a handful of issues that I think are absolutely owners meeting issues. Should we own it? The business. Why do we own it? Actually, I'm going to say it in a different order. Why do we own it is the first question. Why do we own this business? If you're a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 17th generation, it's very tempting to have your answer of why you own the business be one word: because you haven't ever actually been asked this question or thought about why you own it. Or your answer might be something like, because grandma started it. I can't make it die on my watch because somebody told me I owned it, right? Like, why actually? Why do you own it? What is it about this legacy or this business? What makes you want to own it? And then once you get the answer to that question, should we? Because if the only answer you're able to come up with is just because, my guess is you should not be owning it. Like, why are you owning it just because? Gosh, it's probably dragging you down. I'm making a guess there. So other really important ownership decisions. If there are buildings that you own or should own, should we own the building? Should we buy a building? Next great owners question: what do we want from the business? A lot of people have a hard time answering the question, what do we want from the business? If that's a hard question for you to answer, I recommend that you start here. 10 years from now, what kind of time do we want from the business? And what kind of money do we want from the business? For some people, the answer is the money that they want is a decent salary and they're happy to work 80 hours a week. For a lot of people, they're accidentally working 80 hours a week and they just happen to be getting a salary. But there's the bigger question of, do you want owner distribution? Do you want to be able to sell this someday? Do you want 40 hours a week back in your life? The next great question for owners is, do we have the right person leading the business? These are all the kinds of questions that you must answer through the filter of, does our answer maximize opportunity for the family and the business while also minimizing risk for the family and the business? Another great question: what is our approach to hiring and firing family members inside of the business? For example, are all family members guaranteed a job? Or does there actually have to be a job, and do they have to be qualified to do it? Is it okay for a family member to be the boss of another family member? Does a family member need to be a certain age or have to have a certain amount of education or have to work somewhere else in order to work in the business? Similar question but around ownership. As owners, this is so hard to say, what our OUR requirements to own the business? Do owners have to work there? Do owners just have to be a certain age? Do they have to buy into the business? If they buy into the business, is there a discount? Or do they buy at fair market rate? And then, of course, taking a peek at very high level financial numbers for the business, I do think are valuable. But going through a highly detailed budget is not fun. And what usually people do is they accidentally spend 45 minutes looking at numbers that needed about 4 minutes of time. The financial results are lagging indicators. All that other stuff I talked about is predicting and leading and making sure that your business is in good shape. If you can answer the question, do we have the right person running the business? That financial conversation is going to feel less important because you believe you have a person who's very skilled. I'm not suggesting you don't look at numbers. Please don't hear that. But oodles of time spent only on the numbers is usually not something anyone enjoys. And it's not where most of the meat is. Hopefully that was helpful.